Hi there, this is Mark Strassman. I'm Senior Vice President and General Manager here at LogMeIn, heading up our Unified Communications and Collaboration business. And I'm excited to have this fireside chat today with Tim Banting to talk about business continuity and business continuity planning. Another thing that's interesting is when everyone's in the office together, it becomes sort of a lingua franca. Everyone is together and they look each other in the eye. I think an interesting dilemma in the workplace that this has catalyzed is you have 4 generations in the workplace who, yes, if you're sitting in a room talking to each other, I think people generally speak the same language. However, these different generations communicate electronically in very different ways, right? The older generations are more comfortable with phone. The next generations are more comfortable with email. You head down a generation, it's more about instant messaging and chat. You head down another generation, it's all about video all the time. And having each generation just use the medium that works for them was sort of what people were doing, because most of the time they're in the office. Now it can't be. You've got 4 or 5 different sets of technologies and tools, and depending on what you're used to, that's how you communicate with other people at the company. So ease of use to me is kind of based on, was previously, what's the tool I'm used to? Now it's the company has to say, here's the set we're using, here's how we're communicating, and we're going to train you on it and talk about how everyone's going to communicate together very deliberately.
Definitely. I hear the generation message played a lot. I agree with it in part.
Yeah.
The other area that I also try and make customers and clients consider is digital competency. Because if you're digitally savvy, that's one thing. And thankfully, I managed to get on this conference very easily, or this call very easily. I plugged in my headphones and I'm in my 50s. I know most people wouldn't realize that. I'm digitally competent. I've got nieces that, they aren't particularly digital competent and they don't really use these sorts of tools effectively. They don't need to. One's a chef, for example, so she doesn't do a lot of communication and collaboration remotely. But nonetheless, there are those widespread generational issues. There is digital competency, and if you can make it easy to use, then fantastic. You're breaking down all of those barriers, regardless of age and regardless of how au fait you feel with communications.
Yeah, well, and again, I do think that, and I think digital competency is a huge piece to bring in, because everyone across every industry now, whether they never touched a computer before, is expected to communicate this way. So between digital competency, between different generations, between no one being in the office, between employees having so many different things on their mind, it is really the onus is on companies more than ever to be extremely deliberate about their business continuity plans.